Hey everybody, welcome back to Pathfinder, Wrath of the Righteous. Last episode, we started to manage our crusade affairs from this fancy table with all these red, curtains and red tape, what is that? Yeah, red cloth pieces, very fancy. And yeah, we got a message from Master Zacharias. He's like, oh, yeah, go build me a ziggurat so that you can meet me in a fancy fashion, and then I'll give you power and stuff like that, yeah. So yeah, that's kind of where we at. Very interestingly, yeah. So let's continue. Oh yeah, I can actually just give my skeleton more stuff, huh? Yeah. So some longer reach and everything. Probably should have given him the rings and stuff before I sold it. Can I give him anything to equip? Oh, I can actually. What the heck? That's so crazy. Give my skeleton a cloak of resistance +2. What a fancy skeleton. Wow, jeez. Alright, the ziggurat. Oh man, it requires 30 days to solve. Lich Zacharias demands a ziggurat to be constructed in Drezen, which will become a safe fortress for the commander and his laboratory, a refuge for his undead servants, and a place to perform sinister rituals. Ooh, okay. Sure. Ah, damn, it's 30 days though. Ah, that's so much stuff. Oh, okay. Dreams have puzzled the minds of mortals since ancient times. Strangely, the most obvious explanation of the mystery of dreams has appeared quite recently. The most obvious but obviously wrong one is that dreams are but the delirium of a tired mind as it digests the day's events. Ancient humans were much smarter when they thought dreams were messages of good patrons or the opposite, the interventions of demonic powers. In this case, both hypotheses are correct, illogical as they may be. The commander is asleep in his anxious dreams. He sees blood-stained stones, smoking torches, rusty chains, and bars. Once again, he is in the dungeons of Drezen, chained in a cell. Huge demons lumber around, clawing at the filthy walls with a horrifying sound. Death is in their fanged jaws seems imminent, but more painful still is the expectation of tortures that never begin. Unable to move, barely conscious in a horrible semi-delirium, the commander silently waits for what will happen next. Yeah. The silence, broken only by the sound of rough claws against rusty bars, weighs on the mind like a boulder. The fever of endless expectations is broken by whisper, a gentle breath of fresh air in the stifling darkness. The ruby eyes of a demoness peer at the commander. Through the bars, she is similar to the other creatures of the abyss, but also entirely dissimilar. Remember me? I am Arushale. You gave me the gift of freedom, now I will set you free. The chains holding the commander's body crumble to dust. The dark visitor takes a step toward him, passing through the bars as easily as if they were made of paper, and holds out her hand. Fly with me. In response, the commander can only mumble, let's fly. The succubus bursts out laughing. The dungeon disappears. Now the demoness and the commander are flying over a moonlit plain. Enemies are hunting you, demons that have somehow acquired unusual powers that are unprecedented among common demons. You are also hunting them. You are trying to figure out who is sending them and where the source of their power lies. I will show you where to find the answer. A finger with a manicured claw points down to a cliff top, where stands an ancient fortress slowly crumbling to dust. A bell without a tongue, an insane crone, makes it speak once more, and she won't be able to keep her silence either. She will give you all the answers. Wake up and try to understand what happened in the dream. Oh, a demon's heresy. Go to the green gates. Okay. The images fade away. The commander opens his eyes and whispers a word. Unknown, alien, brought by the passing dream. Green gates, the name of the fortress. If a demoness is to be believed, what a curious notion. There is a deranged crone hiding there who knows where the demoness with the unheard of abilities are coming from. It will be intriguing to learn who this crone is, what she knows, and whether this dream is but a trick to lure the commander into another trap, but we cannot find out without visiting the place from the dream. Green gate has been revealed. Nice. Cool. That's nice.
I noticed a small gap in your guard. When you strike to the side, you leave your shoulder open for a counter-strike.
Really? I never noticed. Get yourself a practice stick and show me.
Oh, wow, they're bonding. Lan and Rachel. What a great duo. Uh-oh. Who's that? Lady Konomi. A sharp-looking kitsune gives you a quick business-like bow. Commander, the matters before us are urgent, so let's not stand on ceremony. I am Lady Konomi, the official attaché of Nerosian. Here are my credentials. She presents a scroll adorned with Gallifrey's seal. Her Majesty has instructed me to lead your headquarters The diplomatic council. Oh, okay. Honestly, I was surprised when Lady Konomi asked me to join this council, but I will do my best to fill the shoes of a trained diplomat. Yeah, strange. I got invited to the council too. I'm sure foreign ambassadors will be thrilled to see my face and my manners. Lady Konomi, you haven't mistaken me for some other crusader land, have you? I, like many nobles, have been trained in diplomacy, and in fact, I hold the title of royal emissary. It is passed down the Arende line. I must say that prior to this day, I employed my diplomatic skills solely to undermine Mendev's international reputation. It is time to break that habit. I imagine preventing international scandals will be just as interesting as causing them. Who knows, I might even enjoy it. What's the diplomatic council and why do I need it? To solve matters of politics, of course. The crusade is more than just battles and sieges. It is the largest military project in all of Avestan, funded by the treasuries of more than a dozen major powers, and each one of those powers, in addition to seeking victory over the demons, also pursues its own goals. The diplomatic council will manage to tangle political interests and prevent the crusade from losing the favor of influential benefactors, and while we're at it, ensure that Nerosian remains satisfied with the state of affairs. After all, for the last 100 years, the entirety of Mendevian politics has revolved around crusades in some shape or form. That is why the capital has sent me here, to observe, offer suggestions, and keep the diplomatic situation under control. I see. So you've been sent to keep an eye on me. Whatever gave you that idea, Commander? I'm not an overseer. I'm your loyal advisor. I do not intend to meddle in the way you run things. Just consult with you in cases where the price of error is simply too high. Put your trust in me, and we'll get along swimmingly. After all, none of us here want to see Chiliax and Druma at each other's throat, trying to settle their dispute by using their influence on us as political leverage. Am I wrong? And I doubt that you would like it if we made enemies in the ranks of Nerosian nobility who would attempt to undermine your war effort. This won't happen as long as you trust my experience. Okay, interesting. Get into the politics of this world. Tell me more about the Royal Council. What is it? The Royal Council, operating under Her Majesty, is the highest governing body in Mendev and comprises her most able and trusted servants. It is responsible for day-to-day matters of state. There are hands and the voice of the Queen. The council has gathered people from all walks of life. Some of them are nobles, but many of them are citizens of humble origins who earned their positions through their wit. Many are rich, but a fair number of them come from more humble means. Some are pious and pure of heart, like Lord Inquisitor Kasori and Captain Jaspar of the Crusader Heralds. Others are more flexible and ambitious, but each of them faithfully serves Mendev's cause. I have a question about the composition of this council. Do you find someone's presence surprising? Social has never had to deal with diplomatic concerns before. That won't be a problem. In my homeland, Tianjia, inviting clerics and paladins of Shellen, the Lady of Chrysanthemums, to take part in diplomatic missions is a common practice. They may not be politicians, but they are perceptive, advocate peace, and favor balanced solutions. I'm flattered by the respect that the worshippers of my goddess receive in Lady Konomi's homeland. Socio bows his head courteously. I won't let you down, Mickey Mouse, and I'll make every effort to prevent our friends from becoming our enemies. Why did you want Daron to take part of this council? Why? Because of Count Erende's influence, naturally. He's a Mendevian aristocrat. The nobility will be inclined to listen to his opinion, and by ensuring the support of the nobles, we'll find ourselves powerful allies. Daron sneers back at her. Oh, believe me, Lady Konomi, I will exert all my effort and influence to make this council's job exciting. Why did you choose land to join this council? We diplomats call this little trick mysterious. Garundi Prince. During negotiations, it's always useful to have on your side a representative of some obscure but potentially populous and powerful nation. Without knowing what you're up against and how many mongrels there are, our diplomatic partners will have to contend with this dark horse. So Mr. Land will be our mongrel prince. If we're negotiating with foreign ambassadors and I make this sign, Lady Konomi crosses her fingers in an intricate gesture. You immediately start talking about how offensive their proposition is to the mongrel people. Do we have a deal, Mr. Land? I see. Land scoffs and glowers at Lady Konomi. I suspected that the word diplomat was synonymous with fraud, but I thought you would be deceiving me, not deceiving others with my help. No, that's not an option. I can represent the mongrels in negotiation, but I'm not going to lie through my teeth. Tell me about yourself, Lady Konomi. Who are you? Lady Konomi lowers his eyes in a show of modesty. It's unbecoming of a diplomat to talk about themselves at length, but how am I to refuse you? I am from Tianjia, from the noble Kitsune. Like any Kitsune, I have always been curious to a fault, and my adventures brought me to Avestan, and here in your lands I met my first and true love, politics. I've served as a diplomat in the courts of 6 different sovereigns, but working for Her Majesty turned out to be the most interesting of all. Such riveting webs of intrigues and interests are spun around the crusade and the world wound. Everything's clear to me now. Okay, what's on the council's agenda today? I had to say, Commander, but not everyone in Nerosian is pleased with your progress. Some believe that, to use their words, you are out of control and fancy yourself an independent leader. It wouldn't surprise me if you encountered supply disruptions in the near future. I would suggest quelling their anger. Show the capital you haven't forgotten about the chain of command. For example, you could hold a parade in honor of Her Majesty. If we need to demonstrate that we're keeping Nerosian in mind, why don't we invite the capital's high priest of Drezen for a religious festival? It'll be appropriate, and the church's support will shield us from the accusations of schemers. Pander to the naysayers, I think not. I propose we hold a parade in your honor, Mickey Mouse. This is your victory, and if Cousin Galfrey wants to show off in front of the soldiers, she's welcome to capture something of her own. Lan's eyes flash with anger. Are they out of their mind? We've got a whole Drezen full of soldiers who need medicines, food, and weapons. Until everyone has been taken care of, we can't waste a single coin on pointless celebrations. What did I do to incur Nerosian's discontent? You were too good. You reclaimed Canabris. You won the Battle of Drezen. You're a menace to the world wound. Your authority grows, and the influence of the Queen's confidence diminishes. This creates the impression that there's only enough space for you at the top. The members of the Royal Council are afraid that you will muscle them out of the political arena altogether. After all, if you're doing so well, maybe Her Majesty doesn't need them that much. Therefore, they might try to discredit you, impede your war effort, reduce the scale of your victories, make some concessions, and they'll see that you're open to negotiations. Interesting. I want to hear the opinions of my advisors. Lady Konomi gives you a surprised look. Whatever for? Aren't the wishes of the capital obvious enough? Although, very well, let us hear their counsel. Socio, how does inviting the High Priest to a festival help us? Without a doubt, we should remain loyal to the Queen and respect the hierarchy, but that doesn't mean we have to kowtow to the Royal Council whenever they ask. I think we should neither do their bidding nor seek the quarrel with them. Rather, we should try to take the middle path. The High Priest of Nerosian is a powerful figure, yet he's not a schemer or a politician. By inviting him to the festival, we will both show that we're not cutting ties with Nerosian, and let them know that they have influential friends and are not about to buckle under the Royal Council. Darren, what's the point of taunting the capital by throwing a parade in my honor? There's a fine line between taunting and setting boundaries, and between showing respect and putting on a collar. Mind you, I'm not suggesting anything treasonous or disrespectful. A parade in honor of the true hero of Drezen and Canabris, what could be more natural than that? Besides, a healthy amount of disobedience and guarantees that people won't pester you with lectures and nonsense as often. A dozen tutors responsible for my upbringing and can attest to that. Provoking the capital would be unwise. We're trying to avoid unpleasant consequences, not expedite them. I'm sure that was merely an extravagant jest on the Count's part. Lan, do you think ignoring the capital's worries is a good idea? And what are they going to do about it? We're the ones protecting them from the demons, not the other way around. Having loyalties from the capital is great, but there are more important things like having loyalty of your own soldiers. When the demons come, what will we do? Shake our fists and say we've got powerful friends in Nerosian? Well, that's true. Why that's true, who needs to stay friends with those who supply you with provisions, recruits, and weapons? And there's certainly no reason to fear that base jealousy and envy at the sight of your glory might get the better of your common sense, because that never happened before. Lady Konomi, what good will a parade in Her Majesty's honor do? It'll be symbolic and affordable. Show them how much you respect and value Her Majesty. Make a courtesy to those who pay for your arrows, swords, and bread. The Royal Council has power. You wouldn't want to turn those patrons into adversaries and test whose influence is greater, yours or theirs. Please them, and they will stop worrying about your loyalty, and you will be able to focus on your war. So let me get this straight. Hiding behind our backs and buying their safety from the demon invasion with bread and other people's lives is a new form of charity. Are you sure we shouldn't go to them, drop to our knees, and thank them for allowing us to die in this war? Okay, everything is clear. Then I will arrange for the organization of festivities in Queen Yelfrey's name. Sure, let's do the middle path. Social, invite the High Priest of Nerosian to the religious festival. A moment, Commander. I understand that you're used to being the highest authority in all matters, but political decisions are an exception. I'm a professional in this field, you are not. By ignoring my recommendations, you are not only deliberately seeking conflict with the capital, but disregarding common sense as well. I urge you to reconsider. You've invited my companions to the diplomatic council, and now you refuse to listen to their opinions? I'm simply suggesting that you give your companions time to find their feet in the council, to grasp the principles of being a diplomat. Also, if they weren't on the council, your decisions could be mistaken for decrees of a tyrant, and that is definitely not the public image you need. No, now I understand the role that I've been given, Lady Konomi. I'm supposed to stand in a pretty doublet and keep my mouth shut. I can promise you the former, but not the latter. Well. Don't tell me what to do. We are inviting the High Priest, that is all. Lady Konomi's voice hardened. I cannot challenge your decision. However, I have no choice but to inform the capital that you have disregarded my recommendations. Actions like these are precisely what gave Nerosian cause for concern. Commander, I hope you will revise this defiant stance in the future. Interesting. I'll see to it that the High Priest receives a proper welcome. Let him know that the strength of our faith is just as absolute as our loyalty to Mendev. And with that, we can bring this meeting of the Diplomatic Council to a close. It is unfortunate that things are so tense, but I'm sure we'll soon have many more opportunities to resolve any misunderstandings between us. Okay. Maybe I made a bad mistake? I don't know. Maybe it is a bad idea to invite a holy priest to my, necromancy chamber, but, that's just life, I guess.
We do it my way.
Forming a staff council, yeah, sure, let's degree. Fate of the crest of the fallen knight. Some work on the rock. Yeah, sure, let's issue the ziggurat. I should probably start working on that soon. Alright, here we go. The staff council, right? Commander, Nivea greets you with a slight nod. I've got some information that might be of personal interest to you. It's up to you what to do with it. Personal interest? What do you mean? I mean, we're not talking about military or political matter here, but rather a matter of the heart. Tell me. Soldiers have been gathering in the graveyard to play cards. We usually turn a blind eye to such things, though it's against regulations. We let them enjoy themselves as long as they don't cause too much trouble, and that's usually the case. But recently, my people have noticed social among them, and the gambling seems to be having an unhealthy effect on him. As you know, I usually keep my nose at other people's private affairs. With all these spies and cultists, I have too much on my plate as it is, but I know you are close to him, so maybe you should do something about it. This isn't an official report, it's a tip-off from a friend. Thank you for the information. Yeah, okay, thank you for the information. You're welcome. Okay, interesting. Huh. Night gamblers. Zachariah. Oh, wait, well, he just walks up here? Oh, damn, in this lich form at all. Zachariah stares at you coldly. So far, you've proven better at managing the crusade than Galfrey. However, since you are now my student, you'll require very specialized advice from me. I have news for you, my student. As rumors of a Lord of Death in Mendev began to spread, exiles from the far corners of Avestan started to trickle into Drezen. These exiles are the ones who kept practicing the art of death despite its prohibition. Most of them are criminal scum, but scum can sometimes be useful, no? What would you like to do with them? Will you give them your protection, or will you drive them away after impaling the heads of the unluckiest on spikes? Have you decided to serve the crusade as my advisor, Zacharias? You need a mentor, don't you? I need to see your transformation into a lich until the end. It is my only way to freedom, so you need to survive this war and come out on top. What consequences will my decisions have? However vile they are, they may come in handy. More necromancers at our side means more obedient undead under our command. Besides, these exiles know how to survive. Their spells and rituals may surprise us yet. Alternatively, we can banish them and proclaim the dark arts to be the privileged domain of your chosen servants, the most talented and loyal of all. This act could inspire the rest deep in their knowledge. After all, a single ambitious necromancer is more devastating on the battlefield than a dozen dabblers. Sure, they should crawl back to their holes. Necromancy can only be practiced by conscripted magicians. We are not turning the crusade into a gaggle of misfits and freaks. This is wise. I too choose my servants and students with care. We are done here, student. I leave you now, but expect my return in the future. Oh, okay, interesting. I think I made a right choice, right? Only the domain of the most loyal? That makes sense. Captain Harmatan. Hail, Commander. Before you, an aged yet fit and sturdy Gurundi stands at attention. His dark skin has an earthy tone to it, and crystals sparkle forth from where his hair and eyebrows should be, clearly identifying him as an Oread. Captain Harmatan, chair of your staff council by order of Her Majesty Queen Galfrey, here to deliver a report. I'm on this council too, Sela salutes briskly. We'll be racking our brains on how to improve troop morale. I reckon the key is to back up our words with actions. Lead your soldiers by example, and they'll be eager to follow. Drawing on my experience as a paralictor, my advice is to maintain a calculated moderation in every regard, be it an incentive or penalty, and to be decisive. We have no need for doubts or turmoil. I'm doomed to be your advisor, but do you know what that means? That you are doomed to listen to my advice. To start things off, here's an incredibly novel and deep thought for you. Loyalty, passion, and morale. All of these can be easily bought with money. Commander, permission to report. We've encountered a problem. Although we're still getting volunteers, we're now seeing cases of desertion. Many who joined the Drezen campaign believe that their duty has been fulfilled with the victory, and they are not keen on staying in the garrison. Those who cannot wish to return home and rebuild their ruined city. Lastly, there are those who are afraid of lingering in a place where demons might show up with a retaliatory expedition at any moment. My suggestion is to improve living conditions for the privates, raise their pay and give them extra rations, and reward those who have distinguished themselves on the battlefield with commendations and gifts. Soldiers don't want to leave armies that appreciate them. I feel for those folk. We have to convince them to stay. I think we might get help from the servants of the gods. They'll tell the soldiers that the danger has not yet passed and inspire them to keep up the fight against evil. As long as the wound is opened, the whole world is in danger. We can't just go home and live like we used to, no matter how badly we want that to happen. Most of the Crusaders are volunteers, but they have no right to subvert military discipline. That kind of attitude is tantamount to treason, regardless of who expresses it. We have to identify the instigators, arrest them, and administer harsh punishment to make an example of them. This problem is quite simply solved with coin, but handing money out to privates is practically throwing it away. We need to pay the officers handsomely, and then they'll figure out how to raise their subordinates' morale. Interesting. Tell me, Captain, what does the staff council do? In short, we make sure that whatever orders are given, they are executed properly. Our job is to keep the soldiers' morale high, and so they always follow their officers' commands without question. As for the officers themselves, we look out for any unseemly or incompetent types who subvert the troops' trust. I have questions for the council. Understood, Commander. Ask away. Silo, what do you bring to the council? It's pretty self-explanatory. We're not fighting for a sawmill here. This is a crusade against the abyss. When you're up against demons, you bring a paladin. It's a rule that's tried and very much true. Rijo, what kind of help can I expect you to get from you on this council? I have extensive experience being in command, and as a Hell Knight, I possess a firmness that some of your other officers may be lacking. The essence of my counsel is not to spoil your troops, but to maintain your discipline strategically amidst the chaos of war. A general has to be a beacon of order and a purpose for their soldiers. They will just be as grateful to receive rewards or lashes from such a general, and most importantly, they won't even think to disobey their orders. Darren, what are you doing on this council? Mostly I'm just waiting for it to end, but since I have little choice, I'll give you some advice on how to charm your subordinates. Be they people or of importance or simple commoners, I'll tell you. The biggest secret straight away, free money. Gold has the most miraculous power there is. Captain Hartmatin, why did the Queen appoint you to preside over this council? I've been the Osirian infantry for 100 years, fighting for 3 pharaohs. Then after I joined the Crusaders, I served Her Majesty for 2 more decades. I dare to hope that I've gained decent experience over these years. I see. We're glad to serve. Let's discuss our options in further detail. As you command. Sela, what's your plan? The situation is not that dire. Morale is high and we just won a major victory, so some have let down their guards. We have to call for priests and paladins to get through to the volunteers that it's still early for celebrations. If they leave for their homes today, Drezen will fall again tomorrow, and the day after, the demons will show up on their doorstep. Servants of the gods are indeed the masters of sweet-talking others into dying free of charge, all through pretty words. But when the choice comes down to inspired preaching or homemade pies, 9 of every 10 will look for comfort in their home and at their table. Their incentive needs to be more substantial than wasted breath. Regia, what do you suggest? There is no place in the army for the mindset of playing soldier today, then going home tomorrow. These dangerous ideas must be suppressed with the utmost harshness. We'll identify the most vocal rabble-rousers and exact punishment on them as an example to others. They may be volunteers, but they joined the ranks of the Crusaders. We can't abet in their rejection of their responsibilities, or we'll be heading toward complete chaos and therefore defeat. That's a great plan. If you want your soldiers to run back home twice as fast, they came here of their own volition. We must convince them to stay, not to terrorize them into fighting. Darren, your opinion, please. Our forces are in good spirits. It's just that the euphoria of victory has gone to their few heads. No one can sober them up quicker than the officers, especially those of lower rank. We'll give our dear oafs, all those sergeants and corporals, a bonus on the sly, then promise to sweeten the deal once they've convinced the volunteers to stay. Perhaps they will do so over a beer of mug, or maybe with a broken nose. Why bother solving problems yourself when you push them off to someone you pay? Your bot loyalty will run out sooner than your gold. Once soldiers turn into profiteers, instead of following orders, they start appraising them. They'll wonder whether or not it's worth their while to obey their general. I hardly need to explain the effect this will have on discipline. Captain Hartmatin, what would you advise? The volunteers believe that we've almost won. Great, let's not ruin this pretty illusion. Instead, we'll turn it to our advantage. We'll increase rations and pay for the privates, rewarding the most distinguished with commendations and gifts. Who would abandon the victors when they provide you with good food and even better coin? It's naive to expect the troops will understand that we would just be trying to appease them. An army cannot stand if it's held together by handouts and desperate promises. Nijo's like an actual politician, huh? We shouldn't lie to our soldiers. If we build up flimsy illusions now, the demons will shatter them later. Those fighting alongside us must recognize the seriousness of the situation instead of celebrating victory when the war has just begun. Okay, thank you. Everything is clear. What are your orders? I don't know. You know what, Captain Hartmatin? I think I like Captain Hartmatin's ideas. Issue the privates a pay raise and improve rations at once. I'll distribute the pay and rations right away. The commendation list won't take long either. We should see results shortly. Thank you, Commander. Should any other difficulties arise that require your attention, I'll deliver a new report promptly. Fine. Maximize the crusade stats. Interesting. Okay, cool. Alright, so I want to talk about something, bud? Good afternoon, Commander. How can I help you? I've heard that you've been rather busy playing cards at night. Cards? Me? Socio looks away in embarrassment. Who could possibly think? I've only visited the games once or twice to get a sense of what our soldiers do when they're off duty. You think I'm addicted to gambling? Nothing of the sort. Don't worry, I'm absolutely fine. A dark-eyed young man who looks like a typical Kelid greets you politely. He casts a deferential look at CR. His mentor standing next to him, a simple straw figure in the shape of a wolf, hangs from the boy's neck. How can I help you, Commander? Who are you? My name is Morveg. My family used to live here in Sarkoris. The world wound forced us to flee, made us homeless. Most of our clan died of starvation and disease. We've been wandering the river kingdoms begging losing people, but we've never forgotten who we were and where we came from. When heard that another crusade had been declared, I came here to fight the demons and claim vengeance for the homeland of my ancestors. Do you dislike me too, like CR does? The young boy glances at CR for approval, but answers quite resolutely. I dare not argue with Master Syar, but demons are the worst of all possible evils. I will do anything to defeat them. As long as you fight them, I am on your side, no matter what anyone else says. Sire interrupts the boy anxiously. Morveg, have you forgotten what I taught you? You don't get any closer to defeating darkness by letting it into your soul. You'd be surrendering to it. Humility and faith in the light. This is what will bring us on. This will what bring on our triumph. What you're talking about will make us a mob of bloodthirsty killers who can't tell right from wrong, who live only for war and never for peace. What do you think of Sire? The boy looks at the old man standing next to him with sincere gratitude. He's got a big heart. He picked me up, he gave me food, clothes, he took me on as apprentice. Although I was no one to him, you know, us vagabonds don't often come across generosity like that. Sire is kind to me, but my master's nature is too soft. He doesn't understand that it's impossible to keep your soul pure when you fight demons. We Kelids of Sarkoris have learned this better truth. We know that any means are justified for fighting demons, but Sire can't see that we're right. We're paid for the privilege of hindsight with a sea of blood and the loss of our homeland. Alright, cool. A Chalaxian lord with an escort of battle slaves wishes to join the crusade, but many crusaders loathe slavery. They are asking the commanders to free the thralls and banish the outlander. Sure, I'll buy and free the slaves. Why not? The freed slaves went to Mendev in search of a new home. The soldiers were inspired by the commander's generosity. Okay, cool. That sounds good to me. I have not enough resources. Distributing provisions among the crusaders will boost their morale and show that the commander cares about his soldiers. Whoops. I don't have the materials for that, boys. I'm sorry. Okay, look at this. Baphomet cultists. Baphomet cultist cleric. We should move, but we should also buff up. Let's go up. Look at that. Hail, Baphomet. Here are our prayers. Accept this sacrifice, Baphomet. Curse you all. Praise be to Iomade. Oh! It's him, the one who killed our brothers and sisters. Yep, that's me. Death to the killer, die! Death to the killer, die! Okay, let's do this, boys. Oh, look at that, it's Woljif. Oh, that's nice. Oh. Woljif rises from the stone throne and halts the sacrifice with a raised hand. The cultist, holding the knife over the victim of the altar, stops. Woljif is wreathed in blue flame, and the demonic shadow rises up behind him. Easy now, we're all friends here. This was just a little misunderstanding. You thought you'd come across crusaders, but they're big fans of our Lord Baphomet too. Woljif half turns to you, his right eye twitching, which you interpret as an attempt to wink discreetly. Ain't that right? Yeah, a misunderstanding. Hail Baphomet. Woljif's face lights up. Right, exactly. Pilgrims of the Worldwound, meet the finest member of our big family. Hey there, Chief. Long time no see. Why don't we hold off on the sacrifice for now? We need to drink to this happy meeting, am I right? Yeah, let's do that. Let's tie that one on the altar up again. We'll get around to slaughtering it later. The cultists exchange looks and whispers. The chief cultist lowers his knife. If the Crescent of the Abyss says so, then welcome. Make yourselves at home in the temporary camp of the Pilgrims of the Worldwound. But why did you attack our brothers? I wanted to sacrifice those crusaders myself. Yes. The chief cultist's brow furrows in confusion, but we're the ones who found... What am I saying? It doesn't matter which of us makes a sacrifice to our Lord, does it? We're all working towards a common goal, right? If you like, you can sacrifice our prisoner when we perform the ritual later. The cultist casts a wary glance at your weapons, but passes no remarks. It is good that the Crescent of the Abyss, our beacon in the darkness, and our oracle has resolved this misunderstanding. Relax, friends, and after, if you wish, you may join our pilgrimage. Oh, okay. Well, I buffed up for no reason, huh? Fine. Alright. Woljif. Woljif is waiting for you next to the altar, warily wiping the sweat from his brow. Phew, I thought I was done for. I could feel it in my tail that they were gonna kill me. If you ain't a sight for sore eyes, Chief. When I heard that gargoyles hadn't got you, I thought you were running the show up at Drezen now. I can't tell you how happy that made me. But that night, it all happened. I tell ya, I was so scared I couldn't see straight. I wandered around wondering if my chief and the rest of the gang were lying in an open field with their eyes pecked out. Woljif sighs. Even my conscience prickled a little, thinking about how I ran. But when you took it from my side, what else am I supposed to do? But when you look at it from my side, what else was I supposed to do? The actual paladins were getting cut down left, right, and center. And then these pilgrims of Worldwound tell me that Drezen's been reclaimed, that there's a new commander called Mickey Mouse. Well, I said to myself, they can't be two demon-slain dynamos with that name. It must be you. So I cut my way through the circles around Drezen, and I waited for you to come out. At one point, I got so desperate, I almost went straight up to the city walls, but I thought better of it. Although an arrow in the skull would be a better sight than running in fear of Votiel. Woljif sucks a breath and keeps talking in a rush, like he's afraid you'll turn around and walk out. Do you know Votiel? I don't either, but I remember the name because of what Brother Melrune yelled in the basement that time. I'm going to tell Hepsamira and Votiel or something like that. Anyway, my shadow told me that Votiel is that demon and I should be scared of him. because he's after the moon of the abyss. But the shadow's a whole another story. But if you want to know why I haven't just come to Drezen, I need your help. It's a matter of life and death, Chief. Slow down. You're not making sense. What's going on here? Woljif lifted a breath. Okay, I'll shut up. I mean, I won't shut up. But ask me what you want to know and I'll tell you. What was that? That was my cunning plan, Chief. Woljif's tail is whipping back and forth so fast it's a blur. Why are you pretending to be a cultist? Woljif raises his hands intensively. Easy there, Chief. I'm no cultist, and I didn't ask you to play along for the fun of it. I had a reason, I swear. And it's not because I've seen what you're like in a fight, and I know I have no chance against you. Why did you run the night we fought the gargoyles? Run? Me? I fought him. I did. You should have seen me. I got one on the nose, sent it a rise over tea kettle, and then it flew off. I've got it into scraps a fair few times before. Been caught by surprise in the dead of the night many more times than I can count. So that's why I leapt back up as quick as anything, grabbed my knives, and well, of course I made a run for it. What else was I gonna do? I'm just a thief, a city boy. I don't go toe to toe with demons. Sure, I said I'd help you and all, but that was before. I didn't sign up for nighttime gargoyle attacks. What kind of idiot attacks in the middle of the night? I thought war would keep more civilized hours, to be honest. Wrong again, so apologies, Chief. But I always end up on the winning side, so just my nature. You and your lot in the camp that night did not have the looks of victory about you, and it's not like I'd been much help. If a gargoyle snatched me in its claws, of course I decided to run, and run I did. Interesting. What's your relationship with the Baphomet cultists? Woljif looks pensive. It's complicated. It's a story of unrequited love, really. They love me, and all I think about is how to get away from them and save my own skin. How did you end up with the cultists? Well, how did you end up with the cultists? Same way I end up anywhere. I was walking, and then here I was. Oh, I should mention at this point, my shadow, you know it. Well, it started talking. At first, I was so scared. I thought there was something growling behind me, but then I listened closely, and it was my shadow. It only got a few words, but I heard the name Votiel. Then I heard that he's a demon, and that he wants my moon of the abyss for some reason. And then I learned which direction he was looking for me in. When I heard that, I turned around and went the other way. I'm not an idiot. Those pilgrims of the world wound clubbed me around the head, and I woke up, and they were already dragging me to the altar. I said to them, brothers, don't drag me to the altar. I have a proposition for you, one that you don't want to miss. But they paid no attention and kept dragging me. In the end, I had to show them my party piece. They saw my shadow and dropped to their knees just like that. I fed them a line about how I can speak directly to Baphomet through it, and they lapped it right up. That's why I'm still alive. You said some shadow's been talking to you, is that right? Not just any shadow, my special shadow. After I spent a while running around the world wound scared out of my wits, it suddenly crept out and whispered in this distant sounding voice, Votiel, North, fear Votiel. And the name was familiar because that's what Brother Melrune yelled out, and I put two and two together. This Votiel was in the north, and I needed to make sure he didn't find me. Bit by bit, I got the shadows to tell me that Votiel was a demon and that he was looking for the moon of the abyss. Who knows why? By the way, I have a couple of thoughts of my own about the moon. I'll tell you about them once we're out of here, out of this mess. Remind me why I shouldn't just kill all these cultists here and now. Because Woljif looks around and lowers his voice to a conspiratorial whisper. They will still be useful to us if you decide to help me. And thanks for not trying to kill them as soon as you got here, by the way. Their leader is a nervous sort. You would have definitely stabbed the lad on the altar if you caused a fuss. They think if they perform all these sacrifices, Baphomet's going to appear and hand out powerful spells like candy. Alright, what do you want from me? In a nutshell, Chief, I've got a bit of a situation here. One wrong move and I'm a goner. The demon Votiel is in the vicinity somewhere. A good man has suffered. The cultists are animals. I just want to get out of here and make Votiel back off. But without you, I have no chance. Help me, I won't forget it as long as I live. So who is Votiel? All I know is that he's the demon that sent Brother Melrune to get the moon of the abyss. Now that I have the moon, Votiel's after me. I'm already tired of running from him. He's going to catch me soon. I can feel it. Okay. What good men are you talking about? Me, of course. Woljif folds his arm. I'm a prisoner here, you know? And I suppose there's also the other fellow, Deval, that the one that's tied up. I kind of owe him. I made a dumb mistake, and now he's paying for it. Now, don't get me wrong. I couldn't care less about the guy. He got himself into this mess, except it wasn't for me. Then maybe they wouldn't have caught him in the first place. These pilgrims kept asking me, will we have to keep waiting for favors for Lord Baphomet? As though because I have my shadow, I should know. What am I, some kind of demon whisperer? I just put on some kind of knowing air and say to them, do as you have been doing and the favors will come. They took that to mean that they needed to keep cutting people up on the altar. I tried to put them off the idea, but they didn't listen, and I acted like I was discussing things with my shadow, and I kept trying to hold them off, saying that the stars weren't in alignment, that raining eyeballs was a bad omen. I'd run out of ideas just before you showed up, Chief. I was already considering just letting him do it. He was a crusader after all, you know, demons would probably get him in the end either way. It's not my fault, that's how they do things. It was either him or me. Woljif sighs and turns away, his tail is switching from side to side in agitation. There's one way to get us both out of this, but I can't manage it on my own. I need your help. Alright, I'll help you deal with Votiel. Woljif's face lights up and the tip of his tail dances through the air. I always knew you were a special sort, Chief. Let's go break his horns off. We need to go to a patch of scrubland by a bend in the river, and it's not far. I'll show you. Nothing interesting about the place at all, but that's where I was when my shadow came and started pushing me back the other way. It said that Votiel would find me easily there, that he'd swoop in and tear me limb from limb as soon as it popped up. I wasn't long turning away from that place, I tell ya. Scrubland by a bend in the river has been revealed. There's just one thing. We need to go round up my lackeys to send them off on an errand. While they're gone, we can free the prisoner. No point leaving them here to be bored stiff, right? Yep. That makes sense. Go send the Baphomet cultists elsewhere. Listen up, brothers, sisters. The shadow has spoken. It says that a demon will come to a secret place, a wasteland where there are almost no trees left next to a bend in the river. When we once passed by there, we took a wrong turn and did not find it. Glorious day. Before we set off, I say we make the sacrifice. I say let's hold off on the sacrifice. Then times are wasted and demons are busy, you know? Leave your things and go. I must meditate before such an event, and when I'm all meditated out, I'll come and summon the demon to you. Alright. Good. Good old cultists. Commander, a moment of your time. Devil, the the young crusader has cautiously got to his feet, unable to believe that he's finally free. At last, the day has come when those odious faces will no longer be looming over me. The cultists hid my weapons and armor somewhere. I'll find them and then take my leave of this place forever. They're over there with the rest of the stolen stuff. I made sure that they didn't go walkies in the night. I hope you make it out. I hope you make it out of this somehow. Thanks to your efforts, Woljif. Go. Time is of the essence. If there's a demon hunting you, better lure him into trap and strike first. Who are you? Crusader bows. Devil Gwenviar at your service. Nobleman, crusader, and only surviving member of my unit. What are you doing? What are you planning to do now? Find my armor and weapons, find something to eat, and then leave this place as quickly as possible. The crusader looks ahead with grim determination. Perhaps I will die in the wound, but I will die with a sword in my hands, not like an animal at a slaughterhouse. And if I do make it out, I shall build a temple in Iomede's honor in my hometown. You're rich enough to build a temple if you fancy it, but you're complaining that your parents don't give you enough money. I think we have slightly different conceptions of what counts as enough money. In any case, money is no longer a concern of mine. My life and my legacy belongs to the goddess who sent you and the commander to my aid. How did you end up here? Crusader eyes stare into the distance, solely through my own foolishness. Because of my inability to fight like a man, I thought the crusade would be the best way to make my mark on history. I dreamt of the glory, of the respect that would otherwise denied me as the third son of a noble family. When an officer laughed at my skills and called me an ignorant interloper, how right he was. Fate has a twisted sense of humor. My more experienced comrades died in the cursed place one after another, but I survived. There were only 5 of us left in the end. Our hubris was gone. We were jumping at every shadow, but we still weren't cautious enough. I was the only one who survived after we were attacked in the night. And I should have realized what was happening when the lookout went missing. Alright then, farewell, good luck. May Iomedae keep you. Ah, cool. I'm gonna have Woljif in my party. Alright, you know what? I think that's pretty good. We got Woljif back, so I think that's gonna end it for this episode. Thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed it as much as I enjoyed playing it. I hope to see you all next time. But until then, goodbye for now.